The baby's soft giggles echoed to the nursery, light and innocent. But the dog stood frozen at the door, ears back, tail stiff, growling low. There was no one else in the room. No sound. No shadow. Nothing. Yet the baby kept laughing, and the dog refused to move. It was late morning. Sunlight spilling gently through the nursery curtains, casting soft golden patterns on the floor. The baby monitor had just lit up with a burst of giggles. Sweet, high-pitched laughter that made the mother smile. She padded down the hallway and peeked into the room, expecting to find her daughter Mia playing with her stuffed rabbit or babbling to herself. Instead, she saw something that made her pause. Mia sat upright in her crib, clapping her hands and reaching out toward nothing. Her gaze was fixed on the far corner of the room. She smiled and giggled again, as if someone or something was playing with her. The crib was empty aside from her, and the corner she stared at was blank. No toys, no shadows, no movement. Just then Rufus, their loyal golden retriever, padded quietly to the nursery door. His posture stiffened. He stopped dead in his tracks, a low growl forming in his throat. His eyes didn't meet Mia's. They were locked, unblinking, on the same corner she was laughing at. His tail didn't wag. He didn't whine. He stood still, the fur along his back raised like quills, ears pressed tightly to his skull. "Rufus?" the mother said gently, kneeling and patting her thigh. He didn't move. She nudged him slightly forward. He took one cautious step toward the nursery, then backed up again with a sharp bark, one loud, sudden warning bark that startled Mia into silence. She stared at him with big eyes, then looked back at the corner, now quiet. The mother's stomach turned. Rufus had always been protective, but never like this. He adored Mia. He slept by her crib when she was sick, followed her crawling steps like a second shadow. But now, he wouldn't even cross the threshold. The playful warmth in the room suddenly felt cold, and the air seemed heavy, like something unseen was lingering. She scooped up Mia from the crib. The baby smiled but no longer giggled. Rufus finally stepped back from the door and gave one last growl before sitting down in the hallway, still facing the room. Something had changed, and the dog had sensed it first. The next few days were filled with unease. Every morning, Mia would wake up laughing, soft, delighted, otherworldly, but it was never toward her toys or her mobile, always toward the same corner, always at nothing. The laughter no longer brought comfort. It brought chills. The baby would smile and reach, like she was offering her tiny hands to something that couldn't be seen. And every time, Rufus would refuse to enter the room. He'd plant himself at the nursery door, tail down, body tense. The moment Mia began giggling, Rufus would growl. Not a barking, panicked growl, but a deep, guttural sound of warning. The family joked at first, nervously. Maybe she's got a ghost friend. But the laughter wasn't normal. It came at strange times. 2 a.m., 11:07 a.m., for 44 p.m., never consistent, yet always the same giggle, like she was reacting to a repeat performance no one else could see. Then came the smell. A faint, musty odor, like damp leaves and dry rot, began to linger in the nursery. It wasn't strong, but noticeable, especially around the baseboards. The mother checked the diaper pail. The father cleaned the vents. Still, the scent returned. That's when she found the first skin. Behind the dresser, coiled neatly like old parchment, was a dry, brittle snakeskin, small but fresh. Her heart skipped. There was no way a snake got inside, was there? They checked every window, every vent. The baby's room was sealed. Still, she couldn't ignore it. A few nights later, she set up a motion-activated camera in Mia's room. At 2:17 a.m., the nursery camera triggered. The footage was silent, black and white. Mia lay still in her crib. Then, something moved in the lower corner of the screen. At first, just a shadow, then a slither. A shape moved from behind the curtain, across the floor, and underneath the crib. It was long, slow, purposeful, and Mia never woke. She stirred slightly, then smiled. The mother dropped the phone when she saw it. Her hand shook. She ran to the room, but it was empty. No snake, no sound, only Rufus, standing by the door, growling. Again, She finally realized Mia hadn't been giggling at nothing, and whatever had been there had come back the next day. There was no more denial. The baby's laughter, the snakeskin, the camera footage. Something was inside the house. The mother could no longer sleep. Rufus barely left the hallway, keeping constant watch over the nursery like a soldier. She contacted pest control. They searched but found nothing. No droppings, no tracks, no sign of entry. Still, the strange odor persisted, and Mia's behavior grew eerier. She began pointing at the walls, giggling, then babbling words they couldn't understand. That evening, Rufus began barking. Not like before, this time it was frantic, wild. He clawed at the wall behind Mia's crib, growling louder than ever. The mother rushed in to pull him back, but his eyes were fixed on one point, and his paws were shredding the wallpaper. Then he stopped and began whimpering. He stepped back, teeth bared, and wouldn't stop staring. Something was behind the wall. The father came running in, and without hesitation, began tearing into the drywall with a hammer. Chunks of plaster fell. Dust filled the air. Mia had been moved out of the room, but her laughter still echoed in their minds. And then they saw it. Behind the wall was a narrow cavity, just a foot wide and several feet high. Inside it, insulation shredded a few small animal bones and more skins. 5, 6, 7 of them, all fresh, all shed. The cavity stank of something ancient and alive. The mother reached for her phone to call animal control again, but Rufus barked. Movement. From the dark recess of the wall, something stirred. A thick, glistening coil began to shift in the shadows. They backed away as the snake, huge, dark, and silent, began to emerge. Its eyes locked on the light, tongue flicking. It had been there the entire time, nesting, watching. Rufus launched forward before it could come out, barking wildly. He bit the wall and drove the creature back. The father sealed the space quickly. Animal control returned hours later and removed it, a rare, aggressive constrictor that had likely been living in the house long before they moved in. Mia watched from her mother's arms and, for the first time in a week, did not laugh. Rufus sat beside her, calm at last. The dog had always trust the instincts of those who can't speak, especially when they're trying to protect the ones who can't defend themselves. Sometimes, what seems like strange behavior from animals or children is actually a warning. Not all danger is visible, and not all laughter means safety. Listen closely, because some things hide in silence and behind the walls.